All right. So a take on the positive videos that I'm going to be coming out with, and I try to get an understanding of the different perspectives and the different views on the different issues. I think if you aren't able to argue multiple viewpoints and multiple different sides, then and fairly well, you probably don't actually understand the issue, which is what most people have on most issues, because there's so much to understand, right? There's an unlimited amount of information to know and understand, an infinite amount. And so it's difficult to do, but in these types of things, I'm going to be pointing out some of the positive directions that things are taking. And so on this one in particular, and just recently, I mean, it's been a big subject, and I mentioned it as a positive thing in my briefing and debriefing videos. And that might be why I was skipping the idea of just having videos on some positive things, because I was including them as the meetings were occurring. But on this is June 13th of 2022. That's the meeting that took place. You can see my notes there on the agenda. And this was, I list all the items that are taking place throughout the entire thing. So it's item 14, but it's really the third decision item that we had. And it is ordinance changes, ordinance 2022-04. And this adjusted multiple things, but I just want to point out one thing in here. And it's right there. Section 4.4 of the Dalton Township Zoning Ordinance is hereby amended to expressly permit private gardens and shall read as follows. Private gardens. Private gardens shall be permitted as an accessory use in all zoning districts. And now it seems odd, and I think even from a reasonable person's standpoint, it seems trivial and unnecessary, probably more unnecessary than anything. But there's been a strong growing trend to even restrict private gardens and growing of vegetables and these types of things across states, across the entire country. And so that I think it's important. And I pursued the idea of having something like a township bill of rights. Now, there's no way to put something like that in place. I've revisited the issue a few times, did legal consultations on it, and there's nothing like that can really be put in place. But this, I think, is a good movement in that direction. And like I'd stated before, there's issues that can be brought up with it, and I won't be going over some of those perspectives in this. And so it's a good general trend. And this is an ordinance zoning book here, and it's right after 4.3 deals with animals, right? And then 4.4 was previously reserved, and so now that specifically addresses the issue of private gardens. And I think that is a very positive direction. And I think we're seeing the reasons for that. When the society was doing well and it was peaceful and it was prosperous, there probably wasn't the awareness of the need for that. But I think a lot of people see the need for it now that times are getting harder. And so that I believe is a very positive change, a very positive direction to be advancing in. And you don't want so much change that there's instability in those types of things. And so that's a solid step. I've been working on it and talking about it for a few years now, over 3 years somewhere. And so that is in place, and that I think is definitely a positive thing. When you weigh the pros and cons, when you have the debate, the argument, the doubts, when you bring up the potential issues, I think that certainly comes out on the positive side, on the good side. So if anyone else wants to point out anything in the positive direction or recommendations, otherwise I'm going to be going through a variety of things, feel free to reach out. Also, if you disagree, feel free to reach out, or feel free to criticize me in public. You can shoot a video against my views. You can write an article against my views. You can go on radio, television, and be against me in general, or be against my views, whatever it may be. So I think all of that is overall good. There's obviously bad aspects to that as well, but I think that talk, that conversation, that debate occurring is very important, and a lot of times how, and maybe the only way, for truth to be revealed in the public sphere and for things to come out in a good direction. And so all of that is, I think, is welcome. Also, if you want me to be critical of something, then, or express the other side or the other views, then I can certainly do that as well. So, or we can just have that discussion. My phone number at the office is area code 231-332-6700. My email is supervisor@daltontownship.org. Until next time.